God is about to make your next move unstoppable. There comes a moment in your life where hesitation must bow to destiny. This is that moment. You didn't stumble on this season by chance. You were led by an invisible hand, called by a vision that only your spirit could interpret. Deep within, you felt the stirring, the urgency, the divine nudge that refuses to let you settle. You may not see the full staircase, but your next step is anointed, appointed, and armed with unstoppable force. Every closed door, every delay, every betrayal, none of it was a denial, it was alignment. The move that's coming is not just yours, it's God moving through you. You are not operating from human effort anymore, you are moving from divine authority. The old rules no longer apply, the limitations you once honored have expired. You are stepping into a current so powerful, so predestined, that no opposition can hold you. Heaven has already cleared the path. God has already spoken it into being. The favor on your life is not random, it is strategy. The anointing is not hype, it is proof. This next move will not just elevate you, it will announce you, get ready. The shift has already begun. God is about to make your next move unstoppable. The power of assumption creates the path. The unseen reality of your life is formed not by effort, but by assumption. What you dare to believe as already true in the invisible realm becomes the track on which your physical life will run. Assumption is not mere wishing, it is the inner conviction that what you have imagined is already yours, already done, already complete. This is how your next move becomes unstoppable, not by forcing outcomes, but by embodying the outcome before it materializes. Every time you return to the inner feeling of success, breakthrough, freedom, and divine favor, you are laying down the spiritual structure that life must eventually fill in. This is the law of consciousness. Your outer world is forever yielding to the shape of your inner world, so if your inner conversation remains one of defeat, struggle, waiting, and fear, then even the blessings will be delayed or distorted. But the moment you boldly step into the assumption of it is done, everything shifts, doors begin to open without effort, people you never met begin to speak your name in rooms you've never entered. Resources you thought were scarce begin to flow. You do not move the world by pushing against it, you move the world by changing the way you see yourself within it. When you assume you are chosen, guided, and supported, the world mirrors back that belief without hesitation. That's why your imagination is the holiest place you can dwell. It is the secret chamber where God whispers truth before reality ever catches up. Your imagination is not idle fantasy. It is the divine blueprint, the origin point of all manifestation. When you live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer waiting for signs. You are the sign. You are no longer hoping for miracles. You are the miracle in motion. You are no longer doubting the next step. You are already walking in it. That's what makes your next move unstoppable. It is not about the applause of men or the logic of timing. It is about how fully you've embodied the end result within your spirit. People may not understand your boldness. They may question your certainty. They may even mock your confidence. But when your mind is pregnant with divine assumption, you become immovable. The tides of the world can crash against you, but they cannot drown what God has already authored inside you. That inner knowing becomes your compass, your fuel, and your shield. You rise differently, you speak differently, you expect differently. You walk through shadows as if they are light, because your inner world is so charged with victory that even darkness submits to it. And here is the mystery. The world bends to the one who refuses to bend within. Your unshakable belief in what you cannot yet see forces reality to rearrange. This is the silent power the chosen carry, the power to dwell in the end, to see the invisible, to know it is done. While others look for confirmation in the outer world, you draw confirmation from your inner vision. While others pray out of desperation, you speak from completion. While others fear the mountain, you declare from the mountaintop. And this is what accelerates the shift, assumption mixed with identity. When you no longer just believe it will happen, but believe that it must happen because of who you are, you align with heaven's rhythm. You are no longer a beggar for blessings. You are the heir of divine flow. You do not chase what is already yours. You magnetize it. You attract it because you've accepted it in your spirit first, and the one who accepts something within must receive it without.
There is no other outcome. Reality is not resisting you. It is waiting for your full agreement with the vision, so dare to assume the highest, not just survival, but overflow, not just opportunity, but legacy.
Not just peace, but power. You are not being arrogant when you assume the best. You are being obedient to the truth that God placed within you. You were never created to shrink back. You were never meant to question your worth. That desire you carry, that vision that won't leave, it is not ego. It is divine instruction. It is your spirit remembering what your flesh has forgotten. It is your future self calling you forward. So walk boldly, assume with confidence, and know that every invisible decision you make to believe in the impossible is already paving the path beneath your feet. This is why your next move will be unstoppable, not because of what surrounds you, but because of what you have chosen to dwell in. The power of assumption has created the way. Now walk in it. Your inner vision is God's confirmation, the vision that keeps returning to you, the one that lights a fire in your soul even when everything around you looks contradictory. That is not your imagination running wild. That is divine confirmation. It is not wishful thinking. It is your spirit receiving the blueprint of what already exists in the unseen. The very fact that you can hold it in your mind means it is yours in spirit. God does not tease his children with dreams he has no intention of fulfilling. The repetitive image, the persistent thought, the unshakable desire, it is heaven's whisper that what you seek is already yours. Your inner vision is sacred, and it must be guarded, protected, nurtured. It is the evidence of things not seen but already established in the realm of divine certainty. Most people ignore this vision because it seems too good, too far, too impossible. But those who are chosen understand that the unseen world is the real world, and everything you are meant to manifest begins as a seed within your imagination. That vision is your divine compass. It is not a fantasy, it is a map. When God wants to elevate you, he gives you a picture, an image, a stirring that refuses to die. The world may call it a dream, but in truth it's a revelation. You don't need the applause of man when you've already received the blueprint from God. And every time you return to that vision, every time you rehearse it, feel it, embody it, you are watering the seed that must break through the soil of your current limitations. This is why your next move will be unstoppable. Because it's not a move birthed by logic or influenced by public opinion. It's a move rooted in divine vision. God will never allow the vision he planted in you to return void. It may tarry, it may stretch you. It may test your patience, but it will never lie, it will never die. The reason it still burns in your heart after all the delays, the disappointments, and the closed doors is because it's not based on your circumstances, it's based on your calling. It's already finished in the Spirit. Now your job is to align yourself with it, believe it without proof, and act as though it's already done. And here's the mystery. When you hold the vision long enough, the world begins to bend around it. People show up, resources come, opportunities emerge, but not because you chase them. They arrive because you finally aligned yourself with what was already spoken over you. That's the power of inner vision. It magnetizes the reality it reflects. You become the living embodiment of what God has already completed. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't even need to convince yourself. You just need to surrender to the fact that the vision is real and it is yours. The world may not see it yet, but that doesn't matter. It is not their vision to carry. It is not their destiny to fulfill. Your vision is the evidence of a spiritual transaction already sealed. The more you believe in it, the more it will start to believe in you. The more you embody it, the more it will wrap itself around your life until everything begins to look like what you saw in the Spirit. The truth is, vision is more powerful than sight. Sight shows you what is. Vision shows you what must be, and when you allow vision to dominate your reality, you override the limitations of your current condition. Your mind becomes the womb of miracles. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, expect differently. Because you are no longer reacting to what is, you are responding to what will be, and this shift makes you unstoppable. The enemy cannot defeat someone who refuses to surrender the vision. Life cannot break someone who has already seen the outcome.
Circumstances cannot deter someone who knows the ending before the beginning. When your vision becomes stronger than your fear, your future becomes inevitable.
This is why you must honor your inner vision like it's sacred scripture, because it is. It's the word of God written upon the canvas of your soul. It's the reminder that you are not moving blindly, but by divine design.
Every time you revisit that vision and say, "Yes, that's me," you bring it closer. Every time you feel the emotion of it already being real, you collapse the gap between now and next. Time becomes your servant, not your master. You stop wondering when it will happen and start knowing it already has. That's when things begin to move fast. That's when doors you never knocked on swing open. That's when people you didn't know existed begin to find you. Why? Because the moment you align your spirit with what God has already shown you, you become a lighthouse for the promise. You emit a frequency that reality must obey. Nothing becomes more powerful than your inner vision. It is your GPS in the fog. It is your anchor in the storm. It is your fuel when everything around you says quit. Others may have plans, but you have a vision and a God. Given vision cannot be stopped, delayed, or destroyed. Not by man, not by failure, not even by time. So hold it, cherish it, see it again and again until it becomes more real to you than the current facts. That is how you move from dreaming to manifesting. That is how the unseen becomes seen. That is how your next move becomes unstoppable, because it is already confirmed in heaven and your spirit has received the proof. Delay is not denial, it's divine precision. There's a sacred mystery in delay that many overlook. What you call waiting is often God's way of positioning. Delay does not mean denial. It means refinement, alignment, and divine precision. If you could only see what's being orchestrated behind the veil while you wait, you'd never doubt again. The delay is not punishment, it's preparation. It is not stagnation, it's synchronization. When you feel forgotten, overlooked, or stuck, you are actually in the hands of a master strategist who is arranging every detail of your life with perfect wisdom and timing. You see, the promise was never void. It was simply being matured, and maturity takes time. There is a process between seed and harvest, between prophecy and fulfillment, between vision and manifestation. And that in-between space is where your character is shaped, your faith is tested, and your inner world is aligned with the greatness you're about to walk into. You cannot carry a king's destiny with a servant's mindset. You cannot step into a divine role with human fears, and so God delays the manifestation to develop the vessel. He's not keeping it from you. He's growing you into someone who won't fumble it when it arrives. And make no mistake, it is coming, every promise, every word, every dream he whispered into your soul. But it will not come early nor late. It will arrive at the precise moment it cannot be stopped. God is too wise to be rushed and too faithful to forget. While you worry about time, God is focused on timing. Divine precision means things have to click into place in ways your human eyes cannot see. People must be moved, doors must be prepared, hearts must be softened. And yes, sometimes you must be broken so that pride is stripped, dependence is deepened, and your foundation is unshakable, because what God is about to build through you must last. It cannot be shallow, it cannot be rushed. This is not a temporary blessing. This is legacy, calling, purpose. So when the delay comes, don't curse it, consecrate it, use it. Let it strip you of everything false and small and fearful. Let it draw you into deeper trust. Delay is the womb of miracles, the secret chamber where what you prayed for is being formed in power. It is not God saying no. It is God saying, not like this, not yet. I have better in mind, and that is where you shift. That is where your perspective must rise, because how you handle delay will determine what you qualify for in the promise. Do you panic or praise? Do you question or declare? Do you retreat or press forward? The delay reveals what's really inside you. It exposes the fractures in your faith and the truth of your focus. And yet, it also reveals your resilience. Because if you're still standing, still believing, still showing up even in the silence, then the delay has not destroyed you. It has made you more dangerous, more grounded, more ready, and that's why your next move will be unstoppable. Because you didn't quit in the wait, you didn't settle, you didn't lower your standard to meet your current condition.
You held the line, you kept the vision, you trusted the silence, and now when God moves, he will move in a way that shocks every voice that doubted, because delay builds momentum, it builds depth. It creates a surge that cannot be contained when release finally comes. What you're about to step into won't be a small breakthrough. It will be a divine eruption, not because you earned it, but because you were prepared for it. You learned the language of patience, you worshipped in the dark. You found joy without evidence, and now heaven is responding. Delay has only made your testimony richer. It has only made your roots deeper, and now the fruit is inevitable. Stop looking at the clock and start listening to your spirit. The delay did not cancel your calling, it refined it, and soon every moment you thought was wasted will become a weapon in your hands. God is not just restoring lost time. He's redeeming it. He's compressing years into days, making up for what seemed lost in what he's about to release. The magnitude of your next move is why it took so long. The strength of your future required the stillness of your present. So honor the delay, trust the delay, bless the delay. It did not deny you, it defined you. And now you're not just ready, you're unstoppable. Spiritual movement precedes physical breakthrough. Before anything changes in your outer world, it must shift first in your spirit. This is the eternal law of manifestation. Nothing moves around you until something moves within you. The battle is not out there. It is inside your consciousness. The chosen do not chase outcomes. They realign internally and watch the world adjust accordingly. That is why your breakthrough always begins in silence, in the unseen, in the sacred space where your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions either invite heaven or block it. When your soul begins to move, when your inner man rises with conviction, vision, and faith, the world cannot help but reflect that movement. You must understand, external struggle without internal authority is futile. You cannot cry your way into destiny, you cannot beg your way into purpose, but when you move spiritually, in alignment with divine power, the very laws of nature begin to bend in your favor. The shift happens when you stop identifying with what you see and start identifying with what you believe. That's the secret the world misses. Your next level doesn't begin when the door opens. It begins the moment you walk like it already has. It begins when you speak with the clarity of someone who knows they've already arrived. It begins when you pray not as a beggar but as a son, as a daughter, as someone aware that they are the living extension of God's will on earth. That kind of faith cannot be shaken because it does not rely on evidence. It becomes the evidence. Most people wait for signs before they move, but those who walk in divine power move and the signs follow. The healing follows, the resources follow, the opportunity follows. Why? Because when you make a spiritual shift, you enter a frequency where nothing is missing and everything must obey. This is the move that makes you unstoppable, not a move of flesh, but a move of consciousness, a decision to rise before the elevation, a decision to praise before the victory, a decision to give before the harvest. You become magnetic, untouchable, unexplainable, because you're no longer moving from reaction, you're moving from revelation. You've seen something within, and that vision has pulled you out of fear, out of doubt, out of delay. You've made the shift internally, and that's when the external world must rearrange. The job will come, the healing will manifest, the people will align, but all of that is secondary. It is the shadow of the spiritual movement you made in secret. That's why your journey feels intense. That's why it seems like you're breaking apart before you break through, because the old identity must die before the new reality can be born. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding what no longer belongs in your next chapter. You're clearing space for something massive, and it all begins within. Every time you reject fear and choose trust, you move spiritually. Every time you silence the lie and declare the truth of God's promise, you move spiritually. Every time you walk into a situation with no physical reason to expect a miracle, but do so anyway, you shake the foundations of the seen world. That's what faith is. It's not passive belief, it's aggressive agreement with what heaven already knows about you. It's spiritual motion that activates physical manifestation, and when you learn to live from that place, nothing can stop you. You become an agent of divine transformation. Your words carry weight. Your presence changes atmospheres. Your yes carries the echo of eternity. God doesn't need many people to move. He needs one who understands how to move spiritually. That's when miracles happen. That's when walls fall. That's when dead things rise. Because your breakthrough was never about what's around you. It was always about what's inside you. You've crossed the line now. You can't go back. You've seen too much, felt too much, grown too much. Your spirit has already shifted, and everything in the physical realm must now catch up. This is the point where your next move becomes undeniable, unshakable, and completely unstoppable, not because of what's happening to you, but because of what has already awakened in you. When you trust the divine blueprint, resistance bows there is a sacred design for your life that existed long before you were born, an invisible blueprint written by the hand of God himself, encoded with purpose, timing, and glory. And the moment you stop resisting it and start trusting it, everything that once stood in your way begins to collapse under the weight of divine authority. You were not created to figure everything out. You were created to flow with what has already been orchestrated. Trusting the divine blueprint means acknowledging that what looks like chaos is actually coordination. What appears as loss is preparation. What feels like delay is divine calibration. When you surrender to the truth that your life is not random, resistance loses its grip. You're no longer battling for control. You're walking in faith, and that kind of trust makes your next move unstoppable. Because when you truly believe that God's plan is perfect, even your enemies become tools for your elevation. Even your heartbreaks become stepping stones. Even your failures become fuel. The blueprint contains not only your breakthrough, but every detour, every lesson, every divine setup disguised as a setback. Nothing is wasted when you're aligned with the architect, but here's the key. You must stop trying to rewrite what heaven already perfected. You must stop negotiating with doubt and start aligning with destiny. Every time you lean into the divine plan instead of your own understanding, you release supernatural assistance. Angels move, favor flows, doors open. Why? Because heaven responds to trust. Faith is the signal that tells the spiritual realm you're ready. When you walk in obedience, not to man, not to culture, not to fear, but to divine instruction, resistance doesn't stand a chance. The crooked path straightens, the heavy burden lifts, the confusion clears. You start to see the fingerprints of God in places you thought he had abandoned. Trust reveals what effort never could. While others strive, you flow. While others fear, you rest. While others hustle, you align. Because you know something deeper. You know that what's meant for you cannot pass you. You know that your steps are not random but ordered. You know that the same hand that drew the stars also sketched your next move, and it will not fail. When you trust the blueprint, you stop trying to force timing. You stop panicking over outcomes. You start realizing that the journey itself is divine. You realize the people who left were part of the pruning. The opportunities that fell through were part of the protection. The silence you endured was part of the preparation. All of it has led to this moment, this holy place of surrender where you no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you declare. You no longer wait, you embody. Because the blueprint is not just a plan, it's a revelation of who you are becoming, and the more you trust it, the more unstoppable you become. The resistance isn't outside, it's internal, and the moment you choose alignment over anxiety, peace over panic, belief over bitterness, the resistance crumbles. Even the devil knows he can't stop someone who trusts the divine plan. The enemy doesn't fear your effort, he fears your surrender, because the moment you say yes to the divine flow, you become a vessel for power that cannot be reasoned with. That's what's happening now. You've stopped fighting what you don't understand, and you've started flowing with what you know to be true. You may not know how, but you know who. You may not see the full path, but you see the light. And that is enough. God never called you to understand every detail. He called you to walk, to trust, to believe, and the ones who walk by faith are the ones who see the impossible bow before them. You are not too late. You are not too flawed. You are not forgotten. You are precisely where you need to be, and when you embrace that truth with your whole heart, heaven begins to move in ways you couldn't orchestrate if you tried. Favor begins to track you down, destiny begins to overtake you, and the obstacles that once looked immovable start falling like dominoes, not because you fought harder, but because you finally aligned. The blueprint is not broken, it's brilliant, It's beautiful, and it's unfolding exactly as it should. So walk boldly, speak confidently, move faithfully, because now that you trust the divine blueprint, nothing can stop what's coming. The resistance has bowed, the heavens have opened, and your next move will be the kind that only God can explain.